I'm hearing that old school saying that's like, you've been sleeping with the enemy and it's made your knees weak. There's this overbearing, but in all the wrong ways, negative feminine energy surrounding you. I'm hearing talks out her ass, overly critical, can do no wrong, you know what I mean? And somebody who just lashes out, like their mouth gets them in trouble. And they're the first one to talk shit and the last one to have anything to back it up with. There's also this undertone of manipulation and manipulative, deceitful energy surrounding this whole ordeal. And they just keep taking me back to that old school saying, you're sleeping with the enemy. And it's made your knees weak. But they're saying knees weak in this is that you're not quite finding the strength to move. You're not quite finding the power to get up and go and stand on your feet yet. There's just something about this that you are now coming into a greater awareness of. You're becoming more self-aware to not only yourself and to why you've accepted less from others and why you're continuing to settle and accept less from this negative Queen of Swords energy here, this hateful feminine energy. But also, you have a whole new clarity on the situation outside of yourself as to this is not the situation you want to be in. I'm hearing enemies disguised as friends, enemies disguised as family. Something here is heavy in the stress. And I'm like, I hear like fry an egg or something like that in the head. Like it's something to do with eggs in the head, like scrambled egg, maybe scrambled, your head scrambled eggs. But your crown's on fire. I mean, it's going a mile a minute. You know what I mean? Not like just overstimulated with the amount of clarity you have. Like, I mean, just kaboom, 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 one after the other. There's a little bit of this rockiness, and your team is literally just telling you to turn back around. And not that you need to go, back to the beginning, but they're encouraging you to start something new, to break away from this negativity. They're saying you got yourself into this situation and you can get yourself out of it just as easily. You need to stand up and kind of break the constructs of the mind of thinking that you can't. So it's kind of like this person turning around and they're just like a little bit defeated at the road that they're going to have to walk back to get out of the shithole they've put themselves in is the feeling of it. Like when you kind of just, you just went a little too far, you kind of fucked up a little bit and you go turn around and you go be like, okay, it's not that big a deal. I'm going to just retrace my steps and we'll figure out where I got lost at, right? Like when you're in the woods or something like that and someone turns around. But it's that feeling and then spinning around and then realizing that you've gone farther than you ever thought you did. And you're just sitting there going, I passed that tree. I jumped that. I had to climb that. And you're kind of sitting there like, man, but I've been here so long. I've come so far. And now I realized this wasn't what I thought it was. And it's not conducive to me. And they're just reminding you that you have the skill, the cunning, the craft to get yourself out of the situation that you put yourself in your naivety. This Fool card is also your naivety, but also in the fact of you were taken for a fool. And they're saying you're reclaiming that power. You're reclaiming that you're not a fool, that you're just as smart. You're smart enough to see it. And they just have you starting something new. It's like a new potential, like a new finding of something here. But it's gonna take a lot of work and a lot of work and a lot of coming together of. But you still have something within yourself that you need to bring to light, and it's linked to your child self. It's linked to your self-worth. It's linked to the reason you thought this path or this, I'm hearing relationship, was a good potential option. So something about you in your worthiness is lacking, like your self-worth. And they're saying that you need to revisit why you thought you were worthy of such an overly critical, such a rude, such a mean, verbally vicious, manipulative, deceitful, feminine energy as a partner. And they're just reminding you, you're sleeping with the enemy. This kind of also takes me back to that message from a couple weeks ago now that I'm thinking about it. And it was the message about being like, you know, be careful who you sleep with kind of a deal, because you intermingle energies when you sleep with somebody. And they were just talking about be careful, you know, do the 2-week method. And you guys can go back and watch that if you really want to. But they're just saying that they have bright new beginnings, that you just have to take the initiative to stand up, turn around, and kind of walk back a little bit to go forward, which is so interesting because that also pulls me to Keys of Wisdom's 369's message. Excuse me, burp for confirmation about going backwards to go forward. You have to now walk yourself out of the trenches of this new enlightened awakening of your, you know, surroundings to then go down another path and continue forward. And you also have to revisit this child self, which would also then be going back to the past, going backwards to then be catapulted forward, kind of like an arrow. So that's kind of cool. But that's the message today. Somebody needs to reevaluate their self-worth, their relationships, and Spirit says, you know now. So now what are you going to do with it? There's a lot of earth energy here. I have Virgo out in a couple cards. I have Pisces out in 3 cards. And I have Aquarius out in heavy Aquarius. So yeah, bye, B.